Thank you, Jan. Ooh, I'm a little shorter. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I was asked by Susan G. Komen Puget Sound to share my story, and the best place to start is the beginning. One moment that changed my life forever. Go back to May 29th, 2009. I sit nervously in a small exam room with my mother as I anxiously await the results of my first mammogram earlier that day. The smell of astringent and hospital permeates the air. She makes small talk as the air conditioner in the room blasts through the flimsy blue hospital gown that I happen to be wearing. Never in a million years would I have thought that I would be waiting for a consult with a breast surgeon. There's a knock at the door. "Come on in," I respond. A lovely-looking woman enters. She states that there are calcifications on my mammogram, and she recommends that a biopsy, if I have time, can be performed that day. Of course, my mother and I agree to this immediately as my heart begins to race. I plaster a smile on my face and muster up as much courage as I can. My mother now holds my hand as the doctor begins to prepare for the procedure. Now this is going to sting a little, the doctor states, as she injects me with a little local anesthetic to my left breast. A few moments pass, more injections, more ultrasound gel. The gel covers my left breast now as he searches for the mass that was found on the mammogram. The doctor tells me that since I have a fear of needles, that I should turn and look away. I look at the ultrasound screen instead as I watch as a needle pierces the mass. Click, click, click. The needle takes a sample and is properly placed into a specimen cup. Click, 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 specimen cup. Click, 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 specimen cup. Click, 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 specimen cup. All done, she says. We are going to send it immediately to pathology. Part of the specimen is going to undergo the frozen section exam so we can give you a definitive answer today. She leaves the room as a tech steps in and applies pressure to the 4 holes now in my chest. More small talk ensues as we get onto the subject of the Indianapolis 500 that is happening that weekend. Another knock interrupts the chatter. My doctor enters. I knew that look. The seriousness in her face told me the answer before she even spoke a word. She looks me in the eyes and says, "You have breast cancer. I am so sorry, Alexis." So at the age of 23, the mass that I initially found from a simple monthly breast exam was stage 2A invasive ductal carcinoma. With the shock of diagnosis, I put my schooling and my entire life in Indiana on hold. I would furthermore endure PET scans, MRIs, blood tests, a port placement, 6 rounds of chemotherapy, a regime of Taxol and Cytoxan, a hospitalization stay, a lumpectomy, a sentinel node biopsy, and 6 weeks of radiation, which was then followed by 5 years of the hormone-blocking drug tamoxifen. It was within this 5-year period that I was classified as being in remission. I recovered, I got stronger, I made my dream of moving to Seattle a reality in March of 2014. Then, on October 8th of 2014, imagine my surprise when 6 days after my 29th birthday, my life again was halted. Another self-breast exam discovered a lump in my left breast. Another mammogram, another MRI, another biopsy, more blood tests, and more second opinions. I was again diagnosed with invasive ductal carcinoma. As a transplant to Seattle, I was at a loss. Cancer had now struck my life twice. Last November, a complete mastectomy found 5 tumors of various sizes in my left breast. After healing and a month of physical therapy, starting January 7th of this year, I began an aggressive treatment plan, which involved chemotherapy, radiation, and hormone therapy again. But I was determined to make this diagnosis and all the emotions that come with it my own. A chemotherapy regime of 4 infusions of adriamycin and Cytoxan every 3 weeks, followed by weekly Taxol for every 12 weeks, was implemented. As I began to lose my hair after the first chemotherapy infusion, I decided to celebrate it. I had a pinked out no more hair party where all of my friends were invited over to help me shave it off as Taylor Swift's Shake It Off was blasted in the background. As a self-described foodie, I would pick a new restaurant each time for each chemo infusion as I was spending the whole day at the hospital. I finished chemo June 26th of 2015 and a couple pounds heavier. I was then given 1 month for my body to recover from the onslaught of chemicals. Starting August 26th, I began proton radiation after 5.5 weeks. Each treatment left my skin a little darker and a little redder. Not finishing this treatment was not an option in my mind. On October 8th, of 2015, and a serendipitous turn of events, I celebrated my graduation from radiation. It was 365 days exactly after my initial diagnosis. Many of you Many of you may be wondering, how could this happen, let alone twice? With a twin sister to consider and an unknown family history, I underwent extensive genetic testing. I am negative for all known and current breast cancer genes, including the BRCA1 and 2. It is with your help of our Puget Sound affiliate and generous donors like yourself that funds breast cancer screenings and, most notably, breast cancer research to solve the puzzle of genetic risk that is present of most of us, and for most of us, many like myself. So here I am before you, asking you to join me and support Susan G. Komen Puget Sound in the promise for our fight against breast cancer. Together, we can find a cure. Thank you.